The War Within Early Access is nearly here, so in this video I wanted to run through the things that you can do and also that you should be doing to get as much out of the Early Access as possible. So the first and obvious thing up is going to be leveling your characters. You'll want to level one character at a time because for each character you get to max, you'll get a 5% bonus experience bonus for your other characters, and this will cap out at 25, so once you get 5 characters to max, you'll have a 25% experience boost for all of your other characters. The main way you'll be leveling is through the campaign. Unfortunately though, the campaign will not get you to max level. It'll get you somewhere around kind of 76, 77, and then from there you're going to have to do other stuff. It's up to you how you want to approach the other stuff. You could do dungeon grinding if you've got a group especially, it's going to be pretty good. You could be doing side quests because those side quests will give you reputation as well towards the various different factions, and that reputation will be war bound, so once you've done that side quest chain once, there's not really any point in doing it again. You could be doing delves, especially getting yourself up to delve 3 will be worthwhile, so once the season begins you'll be able to take it higher than delve 3 and you'll be ready to go on that. And also professions will give a bit of experience as well, like they did in Dragonflight, where if you do some crafts you'll get some experience too, so you could be doing a bit of profession stuff during your level journey. Once you've got your main out the way, then you could look towards leveling alts, and your alts will now have the adventure mode where they can level basically wherever they want. This is a good time to knock out all of the side quests and get all that warbound renown done so that you're ready to go and you've got your renowns as high as possible in this period. But regardless of if you do this on your main character or on your leveling alts, you will want to get all those side quests done. As I said, for that renown is going to be pretty useful. The next thing you're going to want to make sure you do is collect all the treasures and lore items that you can find scattered across the various different zones. You'll probably get some of these while you're leveling, and we do have full guides on all of the specific locations if you want more information, but I will have maps up now showing you the various locations for the treasures, and then we'll talk more about the lore items and what those are in a moment as well. But as always, there's going to be a bunch of one-time treasures. You'll pick up the treasure, sometimes I'll have a piece of gear or a kind of like a fun item, but most of them have reputation. That will be a one-time warbound item, so you want to make sure you're gaining all of that reputation again, so you're getting your renown as high as possible. And then I mentioned these lore items, and these are going to be kind of similar to treasures, except when you loot them you're not going to get any kind of item. Instead you'll just get a bit of lore. You'll get some information on the races in the zone or some kind of event that happened, and you'll get reputation for clicking on this as well. And there's going to be a few of these in each of the zones too, so it's worth collecting these. The next thing to think about before you start leveling in general is your profession plan. So with professions there are some tweaks. There are going to be some professions that now need to kind of grind mobs to be able to get some of their items, so these are going to be worth having early on, especially before you start leveling, to make sure you're gaining those items and you get yourself as far ahead as possible with the items you need. And those are going to be engineering, tailoring, and inscription. Those previously didn't really need to mob grind, but now from killing things in the world of engineering you'll get these parts that you can pillage. From tailoring you'll get cloth, which you used to always get cloth from killing mobs, but now it's going to be tailoring specific. If you do not have tailoring, you won't find cloth. So that will make it a lot more scarce and potentially a lot more expensive as well. And inscription is going to have the ability to find these dark moon cards, and you'll be able to combine the cards into decks. These are probably not going to be worth a ton though, and maybe early on, but these drop really heavily currently on beta. You get a lot of these, so I don't really see these being that great of an investment. Or alternatively, you've picked up the common kind of farming professions like herbalism, skinning, mining, and you're doing that while you're leveling or doing various other things as well, just to get some materials on the go. There's also going to be a bunch of one-time profession items for you to go and collect, so you can be flying around the zones, and while you're doing the other treasures you could be doing your profession treasures too, so make sure you're picking those up. And depending on which professions you have, we will have guides in the description down below talking through the various different professions for you to go get your treasures. Another thing to consider with professions as well is if you're going to sell some of your mats early, if you're going to wait for the kind of full release, if you're going to sell it during early access. I'm probably leaning more towards early access because I feel like the more kind of hardcore players are going to be playing during early access, and those are going to be the players that want to get their professions maxed out now. You know, they want it done right now so that they can have the biggest advantage as possible. They want to be able to pump out the big items when everyone else is playing. So I think they're probably going to pay the most, and if I'm wrong I'll lose a bit of gold, but I think I'm going to sell most of my stuff earlier and then stockpile and start kind of building up on my own professions. Additionally, there are going to be a ton of rares across the various different zones, and some of these will have a one-time weekly amount of reputation they give. Definitely worth going and killing these, because these are going to be a big chunk of reputation if you can get it done in the first reset. This is going to be around 1.5k reputation from each of the zones, so it's definitely worth doing that if you can, because that is going to be nearly a renown of reputation from just doing these before the first reset. And if Blizzard hasn't locked the loot on these, they should also give gear as well, and some of that gear will be useful to your main character, but most of the gear they give is warbound. So this is going to be great for your ults as well, because you could get your main character to max, you could knock out the rares, you can get tons of that kind of warbound gear. And by the way, these rares reset daily, but the reputation is weekly, so you could get warbound gear every day if you want to kind of stockpile that. And then once one of your ults gets to max, now you have a bunch of warbound gear you can kind of throw at it, and it's going to be a lot more powerful and be able to get going a lot faster too. So those are going to be the more important things to get going. You're going to want to level your ults, you want to get your professions set up and level them as much as you can. You want to kind of go get the one-time sources of things so that you don't have to deal with that when kind of everything else is released, and you can focus on more of the other things once the kind of full game is released. So from here, what do you do next? Well, it's going to be more up to you at this point. This is going to be kind of the freedom section where the stuff that you can do, it's just whether you want to do it. So for example, normal dungeons will be available if you want to kind of knock out the achievements for the dungeons, you want to check them out, maybe get a bit of gear, and you can be doing that with the normal dungeons. There's going to be the delves up to level 3, which aren't going to be too interesting to us currently, but if you want to learn the delves and also get some of the glory meta achievements out of the way for the delves that you can do now at least, then you could be doing that on the lower level delves, because some of them do not have a delve level requirement. There's also going to be a bunch of collectibles for you to do in this period, so you could get some of the transmogs, you could get some of the pets, you could get some of the mounts. There's going to be a few of the mounts we can get in early access, not all of them, but the ones that you can be working towards, I'll have a list up now, so you can be getting these out of the way now, and then once the next set of kind of available content is up, then you just need to focus on that instead, and you've got all the stuff that you can be doing now done and dusted. And that's going to be about it. So we're not going to have a massive advantage during the early access, but any kind of time advantage is still going to be an advantage, because we're going to have characters leveled, professions ready to go, all the one-time stuff done. So once everyone else is kind of in and the new content releases, they're still going to be catching up, they're still going to be leveling, doing their one-time stuff, while we're moving on to doing like all the world quests, the weekly activities, all that kind of stuff, getting ourselves even further ahead. They'll still be catching up with the leveling and stuff. So if it's something that's interesting to you, you want to get as much of an advantage as you can, then hopefully this video has helped you out and you can get as much done during the early access as possible. Outside of that, look out for more videos on True Endgame coming very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.